A new year has started for the US men's national team, and so we have new dual national battles. And of course, we should never beg a player to play for the United States, but very often, dual nationals require some level of recruitment. So right now, which are the most important dual national battles that are coming up? Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And today, I want to go through 4 dual national battles, or 4 players specifically, that we must cap tie. Of course, when it's possible. And understand that there are different types of dual nationals. It can be an American born abroad from an American family. It can also be Americans born in the United States from an immigrant household with strong ties to their homeland. It can also just be Americans born in the US that are simply eligible to have another passport. Now, each case is different. I will also only mention dual nationals that we could realistically lose. Just because a player has more than one passport, it does not mean he wants to represent another country or that he will. Like, for example, Christian Pulisic, right? He has a Croatian passport, but it was pretty damn clear that he only wanted to represent the United States. Now, that said, just out of curiosity, let me know in the comment section down below, are you a dual national? And if you are, you're American, and what's your other nationality? Alright, don't forget to drop a like in this video, help us hit maybe 1,000 likes, or at least close to that. And that's all. Let's roll the intro and start the episode. Player number 1 is the 21-year-old goalkeeper from the Chicago Fire in MLS, Chris Brady. If you don't know, he's Scottish American, and he had a very good season in MLS, helping the Chicago Fire make it to the playoffs, which normally they suck, but he helped them make it. He was one of the reasons why they made it. Now, in terms of shot stopping, he's pretty damn good. With his feet, he's meh. Not great, maybe not the worst one out there, but not good. However, he is a goalkeeper with a ton of potential. Keep in mind, he is 21 years old. Goalkeepers tend to develop much later, so a 21-year-old goalkeeper is like a 17 or 18-year-old forward. Now, he has been called up for the US men's national team camp a few times, but he has never played a single game for us. He is not cap tied, so he could play for a different country. And he is Scottish American, so he is eligible to play for Scotland, and he's not cap tied to the United States. Now, you may be saying, we have Diego Cochin, an 18, 19-year-old goalkeeper that is emerging from Barcelona. But we don't know. Diego Cochin might never live up to the expectations. Diego Cochin might become a worse goalkeeper than Chris Brady in the future. Like right now, Chris Brady is actually better than Diego Cochin until proven otherwise. Obviously, in terms of potential and ceiling, Cochin would be a higher ceiling prospect, but that is just a hypothetical, right? We're guessing. We're projecting what the potential is of a player. So you never know. We do need to have Chris Brady because he is a high ceiling goalkeeper. He is a very talented goalkeeper, and he could play for Scotland. Because look at this. Scotland seems to be playing Angus Gunn, the backup goalkeeper from Nottingham Forest, that was also playing for Norwich, I think a season or two ago with Josh Sargent, and he's 29. So he's not old, but he's also not super young. And they're also playing a 43-year-old goalkeeper named Craig Gordon. Yes, 43-year-old goalkeeper. So it kind of looks like Scotland does need a very good goalkeeper. And we have seen the Scottish media actually mention Chris Brady a few times. I would say that at the time of this recording, January of 2025, Chris Brady is ours to lose. But it's hard to tell because we don't even know if Scotland has ever reached out. In playing for Scotland's national team, it could open doors for him in the United Kingdom, right? Could maybe get a contract with Celtic, Rangers, make a lot of money off it, maybe even play in the Premier League. We'll see, but I would say right now he's 90% with the United States because we haven't really seen any real interest from the Scottish Federation, and we also haven't seen any real interest from Chris Brady himself. So as of now, as I said, he is ours to lose. But this is a dual national battle that we need to win. Our goalkeeper situation is not good. We need as many goalkeepers as we can get, and Chris Brady's a quality young goalkeeper. We cannot afford to lose him. Player number 2 is the 16-year-old American winger Matthysse that plays for Borussia Dortmund's U23s. That if you don't know, Borussia Dortmund's U23s is essentially their reserve team. And you may be saying, What's so impressive about a player playing for Borussia Dortmund's reserves? Well, he's 16. He's the youngest player in that roster, and he made it there because he was killing it with the U19s, even though he was also one of the youngest players in the U19s. Scored a ton of goals, got a ton of assists, and with that said, he is on track to make his Borussia Dortmund debut, right, with the senior team when he's around 17. That is impressive. And Matthysse was also the best player for the US men's national team U17s in the U17 World Cup in 2025. He's a major talent, possibly our highest ceiling U20 prospect right now alongside Noah Kai Banks. And yes, I do place Noah Kai Banks and Matthysse as higher ceiling prospects than Kevin Sullivan. I talked about that in the prospects video that we released earlier this year. Well, that was the first episode we released this year in 2026. And Matthysse is a complete winger. He can finish. He'll score goals. He can assist. He can beat his man off the dribble. He has the perfect mix of intelligence on and off the ball, technical ability, and athleticism. If he continues to develop, he has the potential to be an elite winger. Honestly, one of the best in Germany for his age group. Now listen, he is eligible to play for Germany and France. His dad even tweeted about Albert in the past with the 3 flags in the tweet, the US flag, the German flag, and the French flag. I think France is not realistic due to their depth on the wing and the fact that he doesn't really play there. There's no connection. I don't think even the French Federation is aware of Matthysse. Now Germany, they're not that deep on the wing as they once were. And he does play in Germany with Borussia Dortmund. So the Federation is definitely aware of Matthysse. But so far, he has only played for US youth national teams, which leads me to believe that Matthysse, just like Chris Brady, is ours to lose. So I would say he's like 90% the way there for the United States, right? It's going to be tough for us to lose him unless we really mess up. The only way I see this happening is if he has a fallout with the US Soccer Federation, or his dad has a fallout with the Federation, and then Germany comes knocking. I doubt he leaves us, but I don't know. As soon as he makes a Dortmund senior team debut and the 2026 World Cup is over, we should call him up and cap tie him for the next cycle, because he could very well be a starter for the US men's national team in the 2030 World Cup. And I'll talk about that later in the video because I'm going to mention another winger. When it comes to the winger position, the US men's national team, we do lack depth. You may not agree with me right now as I say it, but I'll mention that on player number 4, and I'll talk about specifically the players we have that can play as wingers, and you'll see there's like no depth there. And again, I don't think we're going to lose Matthysse, but better be safe than sorry. I think as soon as this cycle ends, the 2026 cycle, let's say he's on the bench for Dortmund, you bring him in so you can slowly integrate him for the 2030 World Cup where he's going to be 2021. So he could be a starter for us by then. Player number 3 is Davien Kimbro, the 15-year-old Mexican-American forward that plays for Sacramento Republic in USL. And I talked a lot more about him in the prospects video that we released. It was the first episode we released in 2026, so you can go check that out. I think the title is The USMNT's Next Generation is Looking Scary, something like that. I'll put the link in the description. And I keep hearing that this player is super talented. And I talked about in the video how I haven't personally watched him outside of highlights because he didn't really play much at all in USL. And outside of that, he only played for the US and Mexico's U15s and U16s. And I'm sorry, I didn't watch those games. But listen, as I said, many people that work with soccer and have watched him talk to me about him, and they said he's an incredible forward. He's a major talent. He has been linked even to Real Madrid. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but he was linked to Real Madrid. And this is a dual national battle versus our rivals, Mexico. So if we lose him, we're strengthening Mexico. At the time of this recording, since he has played for the US U15s and U16s, Mexico's U15s and U16s, I think it's 50-50 in my opinion. There might be a slight advantage for the United States because he lives in the US and I believe he was raised here, but also we could argue there's maybe a slight advantage for Mexico as well, right? Because their soccer culture is much stronger than the American one. So as of now, I'm going to say it's 50-50. But what I'm really looking forward to is seeing if he starts to get meaningful minutes in USL this season with Sacramento so I can actually see how good this player is. And I know as a 15-year-old, soon to be 16, I think he turned 16 in early 2026, It'll be fine if he struggles in USL. What I'm going to be looking for is how he gets out of tight situations, his finishing, his mentality, how he behaves on the field, and try to see if there's some flashes of talent. Obviously, I'm not expecting a 16-year-old to light up USL, even though a Lamine Yamal would. But again, that's not a normal talent. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I do think this is one of the most important dual national battles, because if he is as good as people are telling me, he'll be good enough to play for the US and for Mexico. And we do not want to lose any players to our rivals. Player number 4, the last one of this video, is Montae Colbreath, the 18-year-old American winger that plays for Bayer Leverkusen. Actually, sorry, I said American winger. He's German-American. And listen, I talked about this before. We lack depth on the wing. So we need as much talent as we can to emerge in that specific position, and a few others like goalkeeper that we talked about, left back. Okay, so look at this. We lack so much depth on the wing that Mauricio Pochettino doesn't even play with wingers anymore. Think about it for a second. He switched to a 3-4-2-1 formation, not a 3-4-3, not a 4-3-3. We don't play with wingers. He had them tuck inside. Why is that? Because we really don't have that many wingers. Think about it. Christian Pulisic, he's more of a 10 or a second striker these days. Timothy Weah, I would call him a true winger, but for club, he plays mainly as a fullback or a wingback. Brendan Aronson, he's not really a winger. Diego Luna, not really a winger. Malik Tillman could play there, but also not a winger. Gio Reyna, not a winger. Alejandro Zendejas, he can play as a winger, but he's also more of like an attacking midfielder. So again, we need more wingers. We don't have enough wingers. And Colbreath recently made his debut for Leverkusen in the Bundesliga right before the 2025-2026 Bundesliga winter break, and he scored right away on his debut off the bench. Now, in terms of youth national teams, he played for the US U16s back in 2022, so it's been a while, and since, he has only played with Germany's youth national teams. He even played in the Euro U19 qualifiers, which means that's an official tournament, and he is provisionally cap-tied to Germany. So if he was to play any official games for the United States, he would have to file a one-time switch. And one thing that I found online, because I haven't watched him play enough, right? I saw him play for Leverkusen, but that was like 20 minutes off the bench. He scored, he looked good. But the German media very often compares his style of play to Adeyemi. That's what I was able to find when I was researching this player. And I'm going to wait and see on that. I want to watch him more before I have my own opinion, but he does seem like a very promising player. I mean, he is with Bayer Leverkusen, one of the best teams in Germany. He is part of the German youth national teams, and he has been performing well for them, and he scored in his Bundesliga debut. I would say this, right now, he is Germany's to lose. And if they want him, they will very likely get him. He was born and raised in Germany, so there's that. And if he's good enough to play for Germany, I don't know if the United States has a real shot. I'll say this. Right now, he's 80% for Germany and 20% for the United States. But a lot can change over the next few months. And I want to add this. I think Matthysse Albert is a better prospect. If I had to choose one of these two to have with the United States, I would choose Matthysse Albert. But I'd rather have both. Okay, I want to give a few quick shoutouts before I end this video. So Noah Kai Banks, for example, he is German-American. The reason I didn't mention him is not because I don't rate him. I rate him very highly. I think he's one of our best prospects at the U20 level. I said it's him and Matthysse Albert. I just don't think there's any shot we'll lose Noah Kai Banks. There's absolutely no indication that he'll play for Germany. He never played for their youth national teams. He's been called in by Pochettino once already, and he's been in camp. I think he'll be in the March camp as well. There's no indication that Germany wants Noah Kai Banks and Noah Kai Banks wants Germany. So that's why I didn't mention him. I don't think he's a player that we can realistically lose. The other one I thought about mentioning was Christian McFarlane. He played for New York City FC. He's eligible to play for England, and right now he's with Manchester City. Obviously, he doesn't play for Man City at all, and I don't think he ever will. I kind of thought about mentioning him because we do need more left backs. But at the same time, I don't think England will ever want him. I don't think he'll ever be at the level that England will want him. So I didn't think it was worth mentioning. But he's a very talented player that could be with the U.S. men's national team in the future. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go and a random comment in the comment section down below to rig the YouTube algorithm. I want to thank you all very much for watching and have a great day.